Fox News national security strategist and former deputy assistant to the president, Sebastian Gorka. Fox News contributor, investigative reporter, Sarah Carter. Fox News legal analyst, Gregg Jarrett. Sarah, I want to go back to where we were last night. This was back in March of last year that you literally first said, wait a minute, we've discovered that a FISA warrant was obtained to spy on, then candidate Trump, and maybe another warrant. You and John Solomon breaking the story.
That's right.
Explain to my friends that are so impatient why it's taking so long, because it's been literally a layer of onion a day.
Because we've had to have the evidence, and each piece of this puzzle is another piece of evidence that we could deliver to the American people and to Congress. And when Congress took over and when the Department of Justice took over, they're unraveling, they're moving forward with the investigations that we weren't privy to because we couldn't access the classified information. It is so important to understand that had we not looked into this, had Hillary Clinton won, we would have never known that this was happening. And this is exactly what they expected to happen. This is why they got so lazy. This is why we see those text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. And now, Sean, this is really interesting. Before I got here, I was contacted by law enforcement officials, both former FBI and current, and they were saying to me, get the text messages from Andy McCabe. Get his text messages. Find out what was going on there, because there's a lot more where where Peter Strzok and Lisa Page left off. There's a lot more to be seen there. And, once again, this is one piece of the puzzle at a time. And this is what we've got to do to uncover the truth. And I think that the American people will be just as shocked as Congress. And I think they're going to get those answers very shortly.
Gregg Jarrett, let's go to the legal side of this. You have been examining every aspect of it. Tell us where we are, and do you agree with my calls for the firings? Anybody you disagree with?
Oh, absolutely. Top officials should be impeached, which means they can't hold another government position. But I suspect this intel document is going to reveal multiple felonies by high-ranking officials at the FBI and the Department of Justice. There's a federal felony statute. It's called deprivation of rights under color of law. And it says that a government official cannot use their position of power to deprive somebody of their constitutional rights. Here, it's the constitutional right to privacy as upheld by the Supreme Court. So if the FBI and the DOJ goes into a federal judge using a fake false document to obtain a warrant to spy, that's a violation. It's a felony. It's 10 years behind bars. People ought to be prosecuted for that.
Is there anyone you disagree with that should be fired? And do you agree that the special counsel, Robert Mueller, needs to be disbanded because it was all done on false pretenses, and it seems it was all done illegally?
Well, one of the congressmen who saw this 4-page intel document said yesterday people ought to be fired, and he named names. And one of them, in addition to Bruce Orr, is Rod Rosenstein, who's the acting attorney general in the Mueller investigation. He's Mueller's boss. He's overseeing it. If he goes, Mueller should go, and so should his investigation.
Dr. Gorka, you were in the White House for a big period of this time. I've got to imagine this becomes very distracting, and the fact that it's all predicated on something that is false, erroneous, and that we've had no evidence for in a year, probably frustrating to you.
Well, it was, but the president told me one day in the Oval, just the two of us, that they will find nothing because there is no Russian collusion. So the president must be commended for being completely hands-off with regards to all these absurd allegations and investigations. But I have to repeat and emphasize something you said in your monologue, Sean. Just before I came to the studio, I spoke to my sources as well. The memo is the tip of the iceberg. That refers to DOJ and FBI malfeasance and felonious activity weaponizing intelligence against U.S. citizens. But it goes
Sarah,
much
do you
higher.
agree with that too?
It goes much higher.
Agreed.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I
Sarah-
agree. And remember, Sean, it was about the FISA. It was about FISA 702, abusing that system. And remember, they collect everything. This is not just about foreigners. There's a collection of all Americans. So every call that's made overseas, every email, everything. I want to know how many people within the Trump campaign and within the Trump administration, they were actually...
How many people?
How many?
Surveilled and unmasked and leaked upon.
It's
We have so much
Obamagate,
more to
Sean.
come. I want to say this. All of you have been amazing. Thank you for your hard work in the last year. We have another year of hard work ahead.